The Lion King is filled with several memorable characters, from the villainous Scar to the helpful shaman Rafiki to the delightful duo of Timon and Pumbaa. However, one who tends to get somewhat overlooked is Nala. Originally Simba's friend, who then grows up to become something more, she was a pivotal part of his arc and played a major role in bringing him back to Pride Rock to set things right. The character is first introduced to Cub, the filmmakers nicely establishing her friendship with Simba. There's a playfulness between them, and despite Zazu's insistence, her and Simba reject the notion that they will be married one day. Seeing The Lion King as a child, I found them constantly trying to pin each other to be amusing, especially the way Nala always won over him. Of course, this also serves an important story purpose later on when they reunite as adult lions. When they meet again, it does not take long for romance to form between Simba and Nala because, well, it's an animated Disney movie released in the 90s, and it seemed like it was required that there be some sort of romance. Yet it's a credit to the directors Roger Allers and Ron Minkoff, the animators, and the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight that we bought that romance, even though it blossoms entirely over the course of a musical montage. After Simba decides to run back home, we're treated to this great scene between Nala, Timon, Pumbaa, and Rafiki where they find out what happened to him. It's amazing how much they're able to show the characters learning this information with some added comedy for good measure in the span of a minute. It's an example of how smartly and tightly written The Lion King is. Nala winds up a great character, proven to be a supportive friend, but also calling Simba out for not wanting to return home and confront Scar. You really sense that happiness at seeing her childhood friend, but also a sense of confusion of why he ran away and refuses to take his rightful place as king. She's had to deal with thinking he's been dead for many years, and doesn't understand why he prefers to keep it that way when his home has been completely drained of life. Nala actually had an even bigger role in earlier drafts, mostly in relation to Scar. At one point, the filmmakers considered having Scar try to persuade Nala to marry him and become his queen. She rejects this, and that's partly why she runs away from the Pride Lands. However, the filmmakers felt this was too creepy and it was cut. For the voice of adult Nala, they hired Moira Kelly, who I confess is an actress whose work I've not seen a lot of. She has had notable roles in movies like The Cutting Edge, With Honors, and Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, but the only live-action performance of hers I've seen was in Chaplin, where she played dual roles as Charlie Chaplin's first girlfriend and Una O'Neill. She did a really good job voicing Nala, and I also want to praise Nketa Kalaim, who brought the necessary spunk and support as young Nala. Meanwhile, Aaron Blaise, who later co-directed Brother Bear, served as young Nala's supervising animator, while Anthony DeRosa was responsible for the animation on adult Nala, and they were also pivotal in making her a memorable presence. When The Lion King was adapted into a stage musical, Nala's role was expanded. The scene of Scar attempting to seduce Nala was reinserted back into the story during the musical number The Madness of King Scar, which depicts him becoming paranoid in his role as King of the Pride Lands. She goes to Scar, trying to tell him the devastation that has happened since he took over. She even still holds some hope that he could correct things, but that immediately disappears when Scar confronts her with his marriage proposal. This leads to her running away to seek help and results in the song Shadowland. This number depicts Nala and the lionesses mourning how much the land has been destroyed by Scar's rule, with Nala promising to find a better place to live. It's an excellent song that showcases Nala's determination to set things right and stop Scar from starving her fellow lionesses. Nala would return to animation in the direct-to-video sequel The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. In the sequel, we find out about Simba and Nala's cub Kiara. Nala's role is a lot more minor here, though, with her main purpose being to offer occasional advice to Simba. She also takes part in the final battle against the banished lions. She had even less screen time in The Lion King 1.5, but that's understandable due to the entire film being told from Timon and Pumbaa's point of view. In 2015, a new Lion King animated series titled The Lion Guard aired on Disney Junior, which incorporated many of the characters from the films along with some new ones. Nala was voiced by Gabriel Union here, and while not a central character, as the show is mostly focused on her and Simba's son, she does appear in a number of episodes, where she often provided advice. In Jon Favreau's photorealistic Lion King remake, Nala was voiced by Beyoncé. This remake was extremely faithful to the original movie, so her character was not depicted too differently, although they did add an extra scene that shows her deciding to leave the Pride Lands, and she's also given a rivalry with the hyena Shenzi. With the hiring of a major singer like Beyoncé, many hoped she would sing Shadowland in the movie, but it never happened. I actually wish they had incorporated more of the stage musical songs, so the remake wouldn't have felt as much like a carbon copy of what Allers and Minkoff had already created in 1994, but the only one included was He Lives in You during the end credits. Instead, Beyoncé wrote and performed a new song that played over Simba and Nala running back home, which I forgot as soon as it was over. Interesting enough, the actress who voiced young Nala, Shahadi Wright Joseph, had previously played the role in the stage version, so that was at least one other neat, albeit subtle, connection between the remake and the musical. I admit, when I watched The Lion King as a child, Nala was not the character that stood out to me the most. I was all about Simba and, of course, the hilarious hijinks of Timon and Pumbaa. However, watching the film nowadays, her importance in Simba's story is certainly significant, as she ignites something in him when they reunite, also telling him how bad the Pride Lands have gone under Scar. This then paves the way for him to run into Rafiki and eventually his father's ghost. Their dynamic as children is well portrayed, and although a minor part of the film, the later romance is a sweet one. Nala is also notable for being one of the few heroic Disney animated characters to be designated queen rather than merely a princess. The Lion King certainly would not have been the same without her guidance, support, and spunk. See you next time.